That's rolling.
Should we be talking at this time? Welcome to the Oliver Digest, where we talk about all things beautiful watches. Today, we're diving into this beautiful Rolex Explorer 1, reference 14270. In this video, we're primarily focusing on the neo-vintage models. However, I'll also touch a bit on the vintage as well as modern pieces as well. If you don't quite know what those mean yet, stay tuned. I'll tell you all about them. I love this watch. I think the best way to introduce the Rolex Explorer 1 is through a statement by Rolex. From the years 1963 until 1990, Rolex sold one reference number 1016 for the Explorer 1 design. This is significant because any other watch model they have, Submariner, GMT, Date-8, you name it. All these iconic pieces, there's a new reference number introduced almost every 2 to 15 years. So for this Explorer 1 to have a design in the past that went on the catalog for 30 years without significant changes, many are thinking, is it because Rolex thought this watch was too boring and they didn't care to make any design improvements? Or what many collectors and I think is more plausible is that did Rolex just think this design was perfect? Regardless what it actually is, there's no denying that the Explorer 1 design is an iconic one. So let's dive into the details. Let's talk about the design of this watch. This is one of the most elegantly designed watches that has drawn me for this to be my first piece. What I love about this watch, it's a 36mm stainless steel sports Rolex. Rolex is known for their stainless steel sports offerings between 39 to 42mm, but they're also known for their 36mm dress pieces like the Date-8 and the Datejust. If you were to take both of those combined, that's what you have here, a 36mm Explorer 1. It features an oyster bracelet, which is incredibly comfortable to wear every single day. It features an oyster case, which is water sealed, so I can wear it comfortably in the rain, or I can wear it washing my hands, or even going for a swim. And together, it makes it a very comfortable piece for me to gravitate towards every single day. And a step above that is because it's 36mm, it's understated in design, it doesn't scream in your face. When I wear this watch around town, walking the streets, or even taking the subway, I don't feel as self-conscious having this on my wrist as I would if I were to be wearing a 42mm modern GMT. Also because I have a medium-sized wrist. So it also doesn't jump out like I'm trying to fit something incredibly large and tooly just to scream that, hey, I'm wearing a Rolex. That's why I love this watch. And because of the comfort, versatility, and understated design, this is the watch I'm gravitated towards wearing when traveling the world. Whether I'm walking the streets of London or mopeding through Southeast Asia, this is a watch I would feel comfortable wearing in almost every situation. I wouldn't feel self-conscious about becoming a target. I also wouldn't feel self-conscious about this watch screaming too loud and not fitting the room. And it definitely helps. This watch looks so good under every cuff, and it looks so good with just t-shirt and jeans. It's fascinating to know that many consider the Explorer 1 to be the original James Bond watch, because the author of James Bond, Ian Fleming himself, wore an Explorer 1, the reference right before 1016. And when he wrote about James Bond in the series, he wrote about James Bond wearing a stainless steel sports Rolex. And the film series later adapted the Submariner model. Now let's dive into the different types of Explorer 1 references and their pricing. We have the modern offerings, we have the neo-vintage offerings, as well as the vintage pieces. Let's first start with the modern pieces. The modern references for the Explorer 1 starts in 2010 with the reference 214270. That is when Rolex first ventured outside of 36mm for the Explorer 1 design with a 39mm offering. And today, the modern offerings includes both a 40mm as well as a 36mm design. And one of them offers a bimetal design for the 36mm variant, which is quite interesting. These are typically in the middle of the price range for Explorer 1 models on the market today. You can find them on the secondary market between $7,000 to $12,000 as of today's video. And if you have a larger wrist, then the 39 or 40mm modern offerings may be the best fit for you. Or if you just want a watch that's so well built, then nothing beats a modern reference number. Now let's jump onto the vintage side. On the vintage side, most collectors will say the reference 1016 is the best reference. There are references before 1016, but they're typically not as great built and they're typically in quite bad conditions. Because the reference 1016 was in production for almost 30 years, there's quite a good amount of supply of them in great condition. A vintage 1016 does come with a pretty hefty price tag. As of today's video, we typically see them at around $12,000 to $17,000 for a great condition one. Sure, you can get the Tiffany stamped, that can go up to $30,000 or $40,000 depending on the condition, but I think if you were to go vintage and you want to wear it every day, just go for a reference 1016 at around $12,000 to $14,000 from a reputable dealer. And in the vintage side, all that matters is buying the dealer. So if you want a list of great dealers, feel free to DM me at Oliver Digest on Instagram, or reach out, send an email to blog@oliverdigest.com, and be happy to answer you and connect you with some of the dealers that I personally trust and will put my name behind. Now moving on to the neo vintage offerings, which is my favorite sweet spot. These references 14270 and double 14270 are called neo vintage because they have the vintage design elements in a modern build quality. The reference 14270, which is the one that I have, features hollow end links, and for all the watches produced before 1998 will feature a tritium dial, unless the dial was later swapped by service. And because it has hollow end links, it makes the watch profile seem thinner. And because it has a tritium dial, it will patina over time, like the vintage pieces. Now, on the double 14270 side, you have a better movement, and you have solid end links. And both of those makes that watch more durable and more modern looking. So it depends. If you want something that's more older looking, it has more character in the patina, then I recommend you to go for a 14270 in the years produced before 1998. And just because it's produced before 1998 doesn't mean it'll always have the tritium dial. What you need to look for is the bottom of the dial, just to say T-Swiss. And if it doesn't say T-Swiss, then it's a dial, even if the watch was produced before 1998, was sent in for repair and Rolex replaced the dial with a non-tritium dial. If you were to go for a non-tritium dial and want something that's more modern looking and more modern build quality, I'd recommend you go for the double 14270. It doesn't matter what year it's produced, they all feature the solid end links as well as a better movement. And in the neo vintage offerings, we typically find these at the lowest price range of Explorer 1s. And neo vintage references are on the lower end of the secondary market for Explorer 1. As of today, we typically find these 14270 and double 14270s at anywhere between $5,000 and $8,000 for a great condition one from a reputable dealer. And again, for these pieces, I also recommend you buy the dealer instead of just buying the watch. Because when you buy the dealer, even if the price were 5% or even 10% higher than the lowest offering that you can find on the secondary market, you are buying the peace of mind that you are buying a dealer who has a great reputation of providing quality and knowing what he or she is doing. So anything other than modern pieces, whether it's neo vintage or vintage, I recommend buying the dealer at fair market price. Next, I could bore you with the technical details of this watch, like what's the jewel count per second or the technical specifications of the movement. But I think all you need to know that this is an in-house automatic movement by Rolex, and it has an oyster case so it's water resistant for your everyday wearing needs. And lastly, because it's a Rolex, you don't need to worry about the build quality. This is the watch that you can wear for the rest of your life. And if you take good care of it, pass down to future generations. And yes, I do have to be objective. There are days that you're just gonna fall out of love with the designs of the Explorer 1. It is quite understated, and some days you're gonna find the design is too simple. And especially the deeper you get into the world of watches, the more you may find, hey, I would like to wear a chrono today. I would like to wear a precious metal. I would like to move the bezel to time. So there is that. But I think that's okay. I think that's okay because if I were to pick one watch for life, or my first watch to begin building my collection, I want a watch that can cover every scenario, and I'd rather it be understated and doesn't overscream than have the watch be on the larger side and scream too much, and I later regret, I wish I didn't wear this watch into this room. This watch is versatile, it has incredible build quality being a Rolex, and it's safe to wear anywhere around the world with how understated the design is. Therefore, for your first piece or for your one watch for life, to me personally, the Explorer 1 checks all of my boxes. And if I were to want to add on more pieces in my collection, because I own the Explorer 1, which covers all my bases, I will know what it is that I feel is missing. If I wear this for a year and I often feel myself, hey, I wish I could wear a precious metal today. Or I often find myself, hey, I want to be able to play with the chronograph complication, or I want to see a moon phase complication, then I know, okay, the next piece that I would like to add to the collection is, say, a complication with moon phase or a moon phase and chrono complication and precious metal. But you need somewhere to start, and it's better to start understated and on the safer side than on the overstated side. That would typically be my recommendation. And I'm obviously biased because if I were to choose a one watch for life, this will be it. Given Explorer 1's price, vintage design with patina and tritium, the modern wearability, the build quality, as well as the effortlessly classy design that pairs with any outfit, to me, this is the top pick. And I hate to admit it, part of why I love this watch so much is it has all the above elements and it's a Rolex. At the end of the day, Rolex is king. And before we wrap up this video, we'd like to introduce a new segment of these reviews. Starting with this review, we'll begin featuring a subscriber wrist shot per video. Here we have subscriber Jason's Daytona reference 116520 in white dial. What I love about this wrist shot is this watch, although marketed at 40 millimeters, is much closer to 39 millimeters in diameter, and it fits his wrist incredibly well. And this watch, being a white dial, is incredibly versatile to wear with almost every outfit. And we believe this is quite a wise choice because this watch at the peak about a year and a half, 2 years ago, was selling for almost $35,000. And today you can pick one up for $19,000 to $21,000 depending on the condition. And we believe there's incredible value in purchasing these at the fair market price again. So there you have it, a review of the Rolex Explorer 1, reference 14270. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, cheers.